This past June, a military veteran set himself on fire at the state capitol. John Michael Watts was frustrated with his treatment by the Veterans Administration. Watts died the following week. Well, joining us this morning, John Michael Watts, actually, we want to talk about this, is just one example of a frightening trend, veterans committing suicide. Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Tracy Hutchins. And my guest this segment is Jared Turner. He's the Director of Warrior Engagement for the Warrior Alliance. And Jared, thank you for being with us this morning. We do want to mention that your group had worked with John Michael Watts, hadn't they?
Yes, our community partner, VEO, was actually, he was there at the facility the day before, and they had offered him some food, and he was there because he was hoping to find housing, and unfortunately they were full. So the normal process is you go through SSVF, and as he was going through their process, unfortunately it's a VA process, and he just became really upset and just down as he was going through the process, and unfortunately, you know, he left, and he said, hey, he was going to come back, but he never came back, and unfortunately we found out the reason he didn't come back is because
he took his own life.
Right.
And that frustration overwhelming for him, and we understand that it has happened to other veterans as well.
Yes, so unfortunately I've actually buried 10 of my fellow brothers in arms as a result of suicide. When you start thinking about what veterans go through, and you start thinking about the process, you know, unfortunately it's really sad, and it's really frustrating, the fact that you can engage in combat, and some veterans who don't even go into combat, but when you get into the community, the resources and the bureaucracy is just so overwhelming that you feel like you're alone, and you feel like you don't have any help.
What kind of a role do you feel that PTSD plays in that kind of downward spiral for a number of veterans, because they do come back and there is no one there to kind of give them that support, that boost to really, you know, get back into society and function every day without the threat of gunfire around them?
Well, it's, you know, the military is a brotherhood. Let's just say that. It's one humongous family, and, you know, when we're all in our boots and in our uniform, you can look to the left, you look to the right, and you realize that, hey, that's somebody that you can be open with, that's somebody that you can communicate with. Unfortunately, and this is one of the reasons why the Warrior Alliance does exist, is when you do come back home, you look and, you know, hey, you just don't know who you can trust. You don't know who you can communicate to. You don't know who you can relate to. So, I mean, that's really one of the reasons, one of the main reasons that we're even around, is to make sure that those men and women that are transitioning from service, that they understand that you didn't do it, you didn't join the service by yourself, and when you were in service, you weren't successful by yourself. It was a team, and we're here to let them know that, you know, we're going to do this together. It's one team, one fight, one mission, one sole purpose. So,
what have you found with the VA in dealing with the VA? Because here at CBS 46, you know, we are an advocate for veterans, and we fight for our veterans often. What has been your contact with the VA and your frustration possibly in getting veterans the care and help that they need?
The VA is a large system, you know, and we're not here to bash the VA. It's just the size of the system. You know, right now you have over 200,000 veterans that live in the 13 counties that, you know, comprise metropolitan Atlanta. And you have to think about how hard it is for a veteran to get to one of the clinics, or how hard it's for a veteran to get to main body VA. You have to understand that frustration. When you think about PTSD and the depression and the anxiety that is related to PTSD, something as simple as getting in your vehicle and going downtown or going down the road to a clinic is not that easy for everybody. You know, it becomes very overwhelming. So when you start looking at this system, it's simply overwhelming. It's simply not understanding your population. Again, the VA is a large entity, so if you take a large ship, an aircraft carrier,
and try and turn it,
it does not turn quickly. Again, I personally feel that there are great people and with great intent at the VA, but we just have to be honest. Just look at the numbers. Look at how many people choose not to engage. they're tired, they're frustrated, and you know, when you're dealing with PTSD, anxiety, depression, these are things that just, it makes it hard. And unfortunately, these are barriers that you just don't see. So it's very frustrating and very hard.
And Jared, quickly, how can folks get in contact with you if they need some help?
Well, if they're interested, if they want to volunteer, if they want to engage with us, they can go to thewarrioralliance.org, or they can reach us at info@thewarrioralliance.org. And simply know and understand that it's for veterans, it's for spouses, it's for caregivers. You know, again, you didn't do this by yourself, so here we are.
There's some people to help you out of it. Jared, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, these days there are too many people who see no hope and they end up taking their own lives while they're still teenagers. Two girls whose sister committed suicide, they share their stories when Public Affairs on Peach returns.